Good day everyone! Today I will be discussing mathematics in the modern world. But for today, we will just focus on the variables. So when you heard the word variables, what comes first into your minds? Anyone who knows the answer? Correct. It is all about letters because variable is represented by a letter like X or Y. Since ito ang mas madalas natin ginagamit na variable, but also you can use of any letters. And this is a symbol for a value we don't know yet. Okay, for us to represent a known value, we can make use of the variables. Okay, let's move on to the advantage of using the variables. What is the advantage of using the variables? So, it allows you to give a temporary name to what you are seeking so that you can perform concrete computations with it to help discover its possible values. So, it allows us to go on computation since parang sinasabi nito, how will you compute? Hindi mo nga alam kung anong isusolve mo. That's why we can make use variables to represent a known value for us to go on computations. Kuha. Mabuti. Okay, kung talagang naiintindihan na kung ano nga ba ang totoong kahulugan ng variables at ang advantage of using the variables, punta na tayo sa mga examples of using the variables.
Example, is there a number with the following property? Doubling and adding 3 gives the same result as squaring it. There are a number x with a property that 2x plus 3 is equal to x squared. There are a number with a property that 2 plus 3 is equal to x squared.
Discussions of variables. Is there a number x with the property that 2x plus 3 equal x squared? Yung x squared is it. Yung x is number. Squaring it. Okay. So it is there a number x with the property that 2x so it incident have when doing younger number and young number near. Present nothing as x. Okay, so adding 3 gives the same result as squaring it. This is how we represent to give statement using the variable. 2x plus 3 equal x squared. Raising all terms to the left side end of the equation. So, pag ginawa ko tong 2x plus 3 equal squared equal 0, pag ginagdagan ko po siya ng 0. So, magiging range the term in the descending order po siya.
Writing sentences using variables. So in the sentences, we use variables, especially if we don't know yet the corresponding value. So by using variables, we present the sentence more formally. In what way? Let me explain it more further by giving you an examples. Are there number with the property that the sum of their square equals the square of their sum? A little bit confused, right? When you take at glance or reading it just once, you're confused because of the repeated words or there a reverse phrase happens, which is the part of that the sum of their squares equals the square of their sum. So if we apply variables to a sentence, we can easily figure it out on what it's pertaining to. So instead of saying, are there number with the property of with the property that the sum of their square equals the square of their sum, we can say that are there numbers x and y with the property x squared plus y squared is equals to the quantity x plus y raised all squared? Or are there number x and y such that x squared plus y squared is equals to the quantity x plus y raised to all squared? Or do there exist any number x and y such that x squared plus y squared is equals to x plus y all squared? So take a look the differences between the sentence using a variables and the sentence using without a variables. When you use a variables in a sentence, you can easily know what it's pertaining to. But if you the sentence without a variable, you take some time to be able to understand it. And another example is, given any real number, its square is non-negative. So we can put the variable to make it more formally to say, we can say that given any real number r squared is non-negative. So we use r as a variable represented any real number on it. Or another, for all real numbers r squared is greater than or equal to 0. Or for any real number r squared is greater than or equal to 0.
Existential universal statement. A statement that is existential because its first part asserts that the certain objects exist, and universal because its second part says that the object satisfied a certain property for all things for a certain kind. Example: there is a positive integers that is less than or equal to every positive integers. Next is rewriting existential universal statement. Fill in the blank to rewrite the following statement. There is a person in my class who is at least as old as every person in my class. Number 1. Some person in my class is at least as old as every person in my class. Number 2. There is a person P in my class is at least as old as every person in my class. Number 3. There is a person P in my class with a property that for every person Q in my class, P is at least as old as Q.
Good day everyone, I'm Angeline Sinfuego Marbella. Now I am going to tackle to you about universal existential statements. So what is universal existential statement? It is a statement that is universal because its first part says that a certain property is true for all objects of a given type, and it's existential because its second part asserts the existence of something. Right? For example, every real number has an additive inverse. So, yung every real number, yan po yung universal. And yung has an additive inverse, yan naman po ang inyong existential statement. All real numbers have additive inverses. So, this is the other way. Okay, for all real numbers R, there is an additive for R. So, in this example, we represent R as the real number. Next is, for all real numbers R, there is a real number S such that S is an additive inverse. So here, R is the real number while the S represents as additive inverse. Therefore, kung yung R mo is positive, then yung S mo is negative. Or, if your R is negative, therefore, yung additive inverse mo na S is positive. Okay, how do we rewrite universal existential statement? Statement example. Every pot has a lid. Okay? First, all pots have lid. Next is, for all pots P, so we are representing pots as P. So there is a lid for P. Okay? For all pots P, there is a lid L. So, yung L is nire-represent niya naman yung lid. So, such that L is a lid for P. Okay? So, what is existential universal statement? Parang vice versa naman po. Existential universal statement, a statement that is existential because its first part asserts that a certain object exists and it's universal because its second part says that the object satisfies a certain property for all things for a certain kind. Example, there is a positive integer that is less than or equal to every positive integer. So, sa first part, sa positive integer, yan po ang inyong existential. And yung second part, simula sa every positive integer, yan naman po ang inyong universal statement. Okay? Let us have an example. How do we rewrite it? There is a person in my class who is at least as old as every person in my class. So how do we write this given statement? First, some person in my class is at least as old as every person in my class. Second, there is a person P, so yung P natin, nire-represent natin yung person. In my class P, that is at least as old as every person in my class. Another, there is a person P in my class with a property that for every person Q in my class, P is at least as old as Q. So, yung Q, nire-represent niya naman po yung every person. Okay?